Hey guys, how you doing? What I want to do right now is put a couple of quick little video clips together just to show you guys how to install the KDE Desktop and to get your SE Linux graphical tool to be installed on your system. So first thing you're going to need to do is log onto the virtual machine that we provided you. So log in as the owner. That's one thing to keep in mind. Instead of using user 1, we're using the owner account. Root is still root, but the password for both are actually listed in your on the page where you downloaded the file or the virtual machine from. Okay, so from here what we're going to do is we're actually going to run a terminal shell. Okay. Terminal. It should be most likely system tools. Terminal. Okay, so terminal shell is just kind of like your DOS shell, except that you're in Linux mode. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a command called yum. Now, right now, we're only logged in as a regular user, so we'll have one more step to do, but just to make sure we get the syntax correct, we're going to install the KDE Setup software. So we're going to run yum group install KDE software compilation, like so. Now, this is not going to let it happen here because I'm just a regular user and I need to be root to perform this command. So if you see this error, what you need to do is you need to use the sudo or switch user and do command. And then everything else will be the same. So if I put sudo in front of this and hit enter, it's going to prompt me for my password. And because the owner is in the administrators group, he's able to do this. If you were to create a new user that wasn't in the admin group, this command they still wouldn't have access to unless you explicitly gave them access to it. So at this point, it's just a matter of waiting for your system to run out and check to see how much updating needs to be done. As you can see, it's a fair bit of stuff going on. The nice thing about this yum command is it'll go out and grab all of the dependencies as well as setting up your software for you. So instead of just installing the software, it'll actually go out, and if one of the utilities needed to have this other special piece of software, it would go and get that too, and then it would check that to see if that needed to have a special bit of software. And if it needed something else, it would get that, and so on. So there was a time that doing this would have taken the better part of a day by the time you figured out which libraries and which tools had to be installed first and what order they all had to be installed in. But at this point, all you have to do now is use the yum command, and it kind of packages all that up into one nice, pretty little group for you. Hopefully it doesn't take too long here. I'm going to let this run through till I either run out of time or something else like that happens. Now, what you'll find is, depending on your network connection, this is going to take a little bit of time because it's going out online and pulling this information down. So it's important to make sure that you guys actually do have internet access to your virtual machine while you're doing this. If you don't, you'll only get so far, and then everything will just stop. Once you've finished this particular step, you might need to exit out of X Windows again, but once you've done that, you will actually have the option of the two interfaces. So then you'll be able to log into your virtual machine using either GNOME or using KDE as your environment. So maybe I'll pick this up when it gets towards the end of the downloads, because otherwise you're just going to be watching things download for 5 or 6 minutes. And all that's happening right now is it's going to download all, as it says in my case, 328 files. On your machine, depending on the last time you did an update or what you've already done on it, it could be a couple of more files, it could be a couple of less files. If you do this tomorrow, there could be an extra 50 files in there if something updates overnight. So just to give you an idea of how up to date this yum command can keep your system. Alright, I'm just going to pause here and pick back up again in a little bit. Alright, and thanks to a little bit of editing, we're back at the end of the part where things are downloading. So the files are downloading. You see that it actually runs a check to make sure all the files are there, and then it's actually even testing to make sure those files are considered to be valid files according to the server. At this point now, it's going to do the same thing that it did before, but instead of downloading it, it's going to go through installing all of those files. So I'm going to stop the video here again and pick it up as it gets towards the end of the installation process. So I'll be back in another 10 or 15 minutes, I would say. Alright, and about another 10 minutes later, and we're back to the very tail end of the installation. So, the very last step that it goes through after everything gets installed is it goes through cleaning up some of the files that require a bit of cleanup. So that'd be files that might need to unpack different bits and pieces of themselves, or has multiple configurations depending on your system setup. So this should take a couple of seconds. You can expect the whole process to take in the ballpark of a half an hour to do, with the exception of that first time hitting yes to prompt things. We didn't have to do anything else other than just type the sudo yum group install KDE software compilation, and that had to be in quotes. So at this point, you're just waiting for the cleanup part to finish. We'll have access to our prompt again in a minute. Now, you'll find that the KDE stuff's not going to be directly available for you right now. You're going to at least need to log out. And that's pretty much true of just about anything that you install. So that it may not become available right away. You might need to start a service, or you might need to switch back to your login screen if it's something like this. Doing a quick run through, making sure everything installed properly here now. That shouldn't take very long, so I'm not going to bother to stop the video for this one. Anyhow, once you do that, you'll be able to do all the KDE stuff that the book mentions. Again, keep in mind that there's going to be things, because we're a couple of versions later, that even in KDE might have changed, or that might have been renamed. There was one time that you'd actually do that group install, would be just KDE Desktop would be what you'd be doing, but now it's called KDE Software Compilation. Why they decided to change it has to do with KDE moving forward, and I believe their plans on there we go, everything's been updated. I believe they had some plans on having it available for some tablet stuff too, so, and they didn't want to confuse the factors. Alright, so we click back here, and what do we have left? Brain. Okay, so let's see what we got. I'm just going to exit from this. Now I'm going to log out. Oh, and to log out, I just click on my name. I come down here and I click on log out. Or because I'm one of the system administrators, I can actually go to power off mode to shut my machine down. Yes, I want to log out. Now, the weird thing about logging out is logging out will bring you back to your login screen, but it closes up the X Windows interface for that particular period of time. All right, and there you have it. You're all installed again, and now you can actually pick your GNOME desktop, your KDE Desktop from this session bar that's here. Okay, so if I pick that session bar, the first time I sign in, might take a few seconds to load, but it will all be there. So once this comes up, I'm going to stop the video, and then we'll take it from there. All right, so as you guys are looking at that, I do advise you install it because it's nice to know how to switch between the two. And there's going to be, or there could be instances where you actually have to see both. Now, the one thing you'll notice is that's actually in now, and my menus are different. My menus are actually coming in down here instead of all up on top. There's my desktop icon. Gives me some of my shortcuts. I can add stuff to panels. Oh, and it has music. Okay, it has its own little kind of start menu thing. And other than that, it's all pretty much the same. I'll log out again. The next time I log into to the KDE Desktop, or if I log into the KDE version of the desktop, it won't take nearly as long. All right then, well, that's going to do it for this particular video. And just when you go to do this thing about switching between desktop environments, that's how you do it. Whichever one your last one was is, in all likelihood, the one that it's currently ticked to. So I'm just going to switch back to GNOME. All right, I will talk to you guys all later. Bye for now.